Lectora. We have a wonderful speaker this evening. We have Laura Morales. She is a graduate student at St. Xavier University, and she's going to speak to us in just ways that you can help your child become better readers. So please give her a round of applause for Laura.
Good evening, my name is Laura Morales, and I'm here to give you and share with you strategies and ways you can help your student at home as a parent. How many of you speak only English? Okay, no Spanish? No Spanish? Okay, and the rest of you, los demás entienden inglés? ¿Sí? Ok, so voy a hacer la presentación en inglés, ¿sí? Y si tienen preguntas, pueden preguntar en el momento, pueden levantar la mano o pueden preguntarme al final, ¿ok? I'm going to do the speech or the presentation in English, most of it. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer any doubts or questions. Okay, so I am here today to share with you some strategies that I have come along the way. And as a parent myself, I know now what I didn't know back in the day, which I've worked with CPS and also after-school programs in the Chicago area for 10 years. And so I worked in the school with the students, and I also have worked with after-school programs with the students. So I have worked homework and also in the classroom setting. And what I didn't know then, which I always wondered, is where are the parents, right? Why aren't the parents helping, or why aren't the parents present in the homework and practice of the students? What I know now is with children, I have two, it's so difficult, no? I think the hardest thing is the time that we have and that we can spend with our children, ¿no? Creo que lo más difícil es el tiempo que tenemos como padres para dedicarles a nuestros hijos e hijas, especialmente en la tarea, ¿no? Also, when it's something that you don't understand or you're having difficulty yourself with, that's even more harder, no? So how many of you have one or two, one student only here at St. Nicholas? So only one? Good. And how many of you have more than one? Okay, so it's even less time, right? Okay. And how many of you have lower level kids? So maybe kindergarten to third? Okay. Okay. So little ones. And how many of you have older kids? So maybe 4 to 8. Okay. So there's a variety, right? Okay. So I've created a presentation for you that is Miss D and Maria are going to help me pass out, and it's an outline of what I'm going to present to you today. And this was created for you from parent to parent, okay? So it's created for you as a parent to kind of follow through and implement in your home with any grade level, K through 8, okay? And as you can see, there's a few topics. There's 5 topics. They're coming around. So it's 5 topics that I chose that I think would help you to help your child better understand what they're reading and how to comprehend better the reading that they're reading in the classroom as well as at home. The first topic that I think is very important is vocabulary. How many of you can read or write English? Okay. How many? That's very good. Yes. How many of you can say that you have difficulty reading and maybe even writing English? Okay, so puede ser más difícil, ¿verdad? Para ayudarle a su hijo o hija con las tareas, ¿no? Entonces, ¿cómo es que podemos, how can we use what we know in the vocabulary, correct? Because vocabulary, if you all know, it's going to be in science, it's going to be in social studies, it's going to be in the regular reading, correct? Well, we can take chunks of the words, right? And we can use what we are reading to kind of know and be familiar with certain words, correct? We can also use and create word cards and picture charts, what I call. And I'm going to give you an example of what I created, what I used to use with the lower level kids, K through 3rd, I would say. Really like these picture charts because they can relate and they create them themselves. So they can relate a picture with a word so they can kind of comprehend what the word means. So I'm going to give you, show you an example. So what it is basically, it's a chart that I created with a regular sheet of paper, and depending on how many words your student has that week or the 2 weeks, you fold it, right? And you can have your child will write the word down and will draw something that he or she will help them to remember what the word means, okay? And this is really nice for K through 3rd because they're still working with images, no, in the classroom, and they can always cut this up and make flashcards, or they can just simply put this on their wall, the refrigerator. They're going to see this, they're going to see that their parents, you, are putting effort in their work, no? Because you are showing them that this is important to you too, correct? So this is an idea. The older kids can do this too. You know your child, correct? So you would know if this will work with your older students. What they can do also is they can maybe cut out a magazine, like a picture that they can relate to the word instead of drawing it, okay? So that would be a little bit for the older kids. Also, and if you want to pass it around so you can see. Also, what I did was I would do flashcards with the kids. So we would do the word in the picture in the front and the definition, maybe a sentence that they create. Remember that this is their work. This is something that you are embracing. So if they are allowed to do their own work, they will develop their vocabulary in such a great, way. And you are giving them that self-esteem, kind of, to feel comfortable with their own work. Okay. So, questions so far, or okay. So what I did was I used a regular key chain, and I can, make a punch hole. I can even put tape here, so it won't rip. And so these will be your weekly, your weekly study words for science. You can have one for math. You can have one for social studies. And what happens at the end of the week is you can take these cards and you can take them out and make new ones. And these cards, what you can do is you can have another ring, right? And then they can do alphabetical order. And the other ring, they'll have accumulation of a lot of words from different weeks, correct? And then you can, don't leave the words here and just let them sit there and collect dust, right? Let's grab these words from time to time, even if the words from the last month, last year, right? And let's go over them together, okay? You want to read them to me, or do you want me to read them to you? Let's take turns, correct? So just because we are done with these words in the school, we can always go back. It's not going to hurt them, right? And it's going to give you time with them to read, correct? Also, if you have seen these, I don't know what they call them, but lineage? Lanyards, okay, sorry. They're all over. You can get them at the dollar store. They're all over, so you can use these. You can hang these where the keys are, right? And this is going to be their space, right? Not just in their room, not just in their book bags, but let's unpack a little bit and have them have a space in the house too for their work, right? Also, I don't know if you've seen these, but these are also very common. So you can just open them up, take them out, put new words for the week, or you can use this for your accumulating week by week, right, words. And this is going to help them to kind of feel like, you know what, I'm working and my mom and my dad are actually paying attention to me. They're not just throwing away, you know, past work. So this is something they can grow with, you know. Also, when these words are done at the end of the week, you can create a vocabulary, what I call a vocabulary dictionary. And I have a sample too. Let me bring it over here. You can pass this out. And I just grabbed a regular notebook. I'm gonna maybe color it or, you know, draw in the front. And what I would think it would be best would be to create a page for each letter of the alphabet, so the student can not only just take these words and that's it, they can create a dictionary for the whole year, you know, and they can put all the A words behind the A, into the B, and it would basically be the word and maybe the definition or a sentence. And again, this is the student's work, and this is something that you can go over anytime, you know? And this is a great idea and something very simple that we can all do. You can also use a 3-ring binder for this. So vocabulary is a very important part of the reading, correct? Second is the author's purpose. I think it's important to know what the author is trying to communicate to the student. And once we know what the purpose is, then we can start reading. We can start to choose books that will be of interest to me because I know which books to choose, right? So what is the author's purpose? There's one of 3. It's either to inform, to persuade, or to entertain, correct? And also the nonfiction and fiction categories can also be placed here. So you as a parent, how can you help your student to understand what the purpose is? Well, you can simply ask, you know, okay, what book are you reading today? Let's see what book you're reading, right? And then you can simply ask, what do you think not only this book is going to be about, but do you think it's going to persuade you to do something? Is it going to inform you? Is it going to entertain you? And also students are taught to do the fiction and nonfiction books, right? How many of you have your students, or does the school do reading levels? And do the teachers practice reading levels in the classroom? Yes? Okay, so you're familiar with the reading levels of your students? Yes? Okay. ¿Saben lo que es el nivel de lectura de sus estudiantes? ¿No? Si no saben, está bien. Pueden levantar la mano. Nada más quiero darme una idea para explicar. ¿Dice que no? No, ok. So, el nivel de lectura es básicamente en qué nivel está leyendo su hijo o su hija. No sé si aquí hacen números o do you do letters here in the school? Letters? Okay. So, es de A hasta la Z. Y lo que es se va adelantando el estudiante en su nivel, so la letra va creciendo, ¿no? Obvio que la A va a ser un poco más fácil, so va a ser para estudiantes de kinder, más o menos. Okay? So, another very important, does anybody have questions about the purpose? Okay. Another very important thing or idea and strategy that I think is very important as a parent to understand is the schema. How many of you know what a schema is? El esquema es una palabra que usan las maestras en la clase. Es una palabra que los estudiantes they're familiar with. And what it is your prior knowledge. It's just your prior knowledge that you bring to the table, what you already know about the subject, what you already know about a certain topic, okay? And so knowing what, using your schema and making a connection to the book that you are reading will help you to relate to the book somehow. Once you relate yourself to something or someone or a book, it becomes more comfortable for you to get involved, no? So, how many of you do you need me to further explain the schema? Okay, so basically making a connection to the book. And there's 3 ways that you can make connection to the book that I mentioned here. And it's a text-to-text, so the student can relate the book they're reading now to a book they previously read. And that will kind of, give them some more like ease. Oh, I already read a book like this, I read a book about pumpkins already, I'm gonna maybe, relate and compare this book to the previous book, right? You could do a text to self, which is comparing what the characters in the book are going through, are feeling, because, well, I already felt that. I've been there. I've experienced something that the character is experiencing, okay? And text to world would be when the student compares what's happening in the book to what happened in the world around you, and that again helps the student to, feel like they do know something about the subject and it's not out of their reach. Okay? Do you have any questions about schema and making a connection? Yes?
Would an alternative be to make a connection with something they enjoy, like video games, or is that detrimental to their...
Perfect. Yes. So it could be, the important thing is they're making a connection and they're relating themselves to the characters or to the theme. Okay? So once you make the connection, you will be able to understand what you are reading. Making predictions. So making predictions in the beginning of the book, during the book, and this will help the student to get involved in what they're reading. I write here that a picture walk helps students. I used to do picture walks with K through 3rd. They really, you can tell they really like picture walks. And what it is basically, what you can do is you can sit in front of the student, next to the student, and say, okay, we're going to read this book, or they choose a book, and you say, okay, well, let's read the title together. So we read the title together, and then you're going to say, well, I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead and do a picture walk. And what they do is they just skim through the pages. They just look at the pictures. And why I say a minute is because if you tell them to do a picture walk, what will the kids do? They make up a story. They start looking at the pictures and they start, they like a picture, they'll just stay there, So you want to just say, maybe, I'll give you a minute to do a picture walk. That way they can have like a time, they feel like there's a time limit. So let me just, it's supposed to be really fast, okay? And that will help them to, again, feel comfortable with the book. Okay, they're not just jumping in. And also this kind of helps them to feel a little independent. You're not telling them what to read. You're not telling them what to read or how fast to read it. They're taking ownership of that book. How? Well, they're just, skimming through the pages at their own pace. 1 minute, right? And then once they've begun reading, you can do predictions. You can do at the end of the paragraph. You can do at the end of the page, before the next page turns over. And you can do right before the book or the story ends, okay? So you can make questions like, what do you think is going to happen next? And the reason why I say after every paragraph or every page is because that will give the student, your son or daughter, time to kind of reflect on what just happened so they won't forget. you will know your student, you know your son or your daughter, you know what they're capable of, you know if they can, go 2 pages without, reflecting on it, or the whole book, right? But if you know that your son or daughter will have more of an experience if you pause together after each page or after each paragraph, after each line, however your student works, and that's how you know your students, okay? Do you have any questions about predictions? Okay, and then also make it a family thing. So what it is, it's involving not just you and your one student, but everybody at home. So hard though, right? It's easier said than done. Especially because we have work, we have our spouses, right? We have other children, we have que la comadre, que la novela. We have so many things going on at home, and the time flies by so fast, no? So it's so hard to get, as it is, people, the family to eat together, no, nowadays. Everybody has their own schedule. So I think it's not only a challenge for your student, for your son or daughter, but I think it's a challenge that will be for the parents. And if you apply it, and of course it's not going to be today to tomorrow, right? You can try little steps, okay? So one day you can sit with your son or daughter. The next day you can invite your other son or your other daughter. You can, talk to your husband or to your wife and say, hey, I think this would be a really good idea. What do you think? 10, 20 minutes of your time. And it's at your own schedule, right? It could be in the kitchen, it could be in the living room. You as a family can choose, and I think that's the better part, is that you're involving your family, but you're also involving them where to choose, where to pick the room, right? Maybe you can make it a little bit of fun and say, well, today we're doing my room, but tomorrow you get to pick where would you want us to read. And it would be 10, 20 minutes of nothing but reading, so no phone, no laptop, no novelas, la comadre can wait, right? Start a reward system. I think that's a good sense of accomplishment for your child. It could be a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and you get to choose. So for example, if you say to your child, I'm going to start giving you 1 point, and you do your own chart, you have your child help you out. You can buy stickers from a dollar store. You can use just a regular pen, just a marker, and for every 20 minutes that you read a day without interruptions, I'm going to give you a point. I'm going to give you a sticker, and at the end of the week, at the end of 2 weeks, you can redeem those points for, I put here television time, but it's really up to you. You know where your child likes. It could be a special snack, a special outing. Maybe a friend can come over, and play with you. Goodness, there's lots of great ideas. I'm sure you guys know your child and know what they would like. Also, create time of the week to allow for family reading time, and I already went over that. I skipped take turns reading to your child, and I think that's very important. In the folder that the school provided, it tells about the importance about reading out loud to your child. When I was a little girl, I have 2 brothers, and my mom and my dad, they didn't have money for books. That was their last thing on their list to buy. But my mom, for some reason, would always want to read, and the only book we had was the Bible. So, and it wasn't where my mom would sit us down and say, okay, I'm going to read to you. Every night we knew, my brothers and I, nos subíamos con ella en la cama, ella estaba con sus almohadas, y alrededor de ella, en sus pies, around her feet, we would just lay there, and she would just read to us. It was either a paragraph or a page, and if you know the Bible, it has no pictures, right? So it was literally just read out loud, no pictures, and it was all in our head, no? And I think that's a good practice for you as a parent. You don't have to read a whole book. You can read one page from the newspaper, from the magazine. You can read from the cereal box, right? You can read pretty much anything, and your child will enjoy you being with them, and that reading out loud will create a bond. I guarantee it. Also, start your own library. As I mentioned before, I've worked for CPS for 10 years now, and even before I married and I had my 2 children, I would buy, I don't know if they pass around here, the Scholastic. They do. I would buy the $1 books. I have so many of them. And I have both Spanish and I have English, and I brought some to share with you. They're very simple books, but my son loves his books. He has a little small crate, and he has his books that he can grab and read to his sister. And I also have other books that I know are a little bit more challenging for him, and I know I don't want him to just grab and tear, so I have them separate. But these books are books that he can grab and just, he doesn't necessarily read them, but he'll just skim through them because he's only 2.5, so he doesn't read. But he's reading, say what, And we have our reading time too, and I guarantee if you start establishing a reading time with your child, it will create an amazing bond. And it's never too late. I know a few of you said you have older sons and daughters. It's never too late. And I know that some children, 6th, 7th, and 8th, they think they're too cool to hang out with mom and dad. But I guarantee you that they will enjoy you sitting down with them. Another thing I didn't mention is creating a homework routine is amazing. I know some of you have older children, and they've probably already created a homework routine, but that's good. That's really good. That's good that they have a routine. Don't just maybe okay, you have a routine, that's great. Keep working. Maybe you can say, well, I noticed that you work at your own pace, and I really enjoy seeing you working. You're doing really good. Can I sit here and watch you? I just want to watch you. I just want to sit there and just watch you. And that just watching will eventually become a conversation, will eventually be asking you questions. So that's how you can start getting involved with their homework, little by little. I also have 2 websites that I would like to share with you that would help you to find out what a reading level of a certain book is. So if you have a reading level and you're not sure if it's appropriate for your son or daughter, you can go to these websites. And I was actually told that the first website I'm going to give you has free books, so you can actually print out free books. It's www.readinga-z.com. And they have a link for Spanish, so it will explain to you everything in Spanish. There's another one called www.scholastic.com/bookwizard. And that one gives you grade level, so if you're not sure what level they should be in, you can always just click on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, or you can go by reading level, okay? And yeah, it's www.readinga/z.com, and that's the one that gives you that lets you print out free books. So again,
did you say dash or slash?
dash.
Dash.
Yeah. Did I say dash? Okay. It's scholastic.com /bookwizard.
Can you spell scholastic?
Yes,
for me?
Scholastic is SCHOLASTIC. Oh, another thing for creating your library. I've also not only bought books from Scholastic, but also I love garage sales. So like when I go to a garage sale, I'll go through like the book area and I'll see if there's books that I can maybe buy for my child that are, I'm not gonna rip off when I get home. So there's different ways of you collecting books. Okay, any questions? Yes?
Do you think it's a little bit too much for younger children, maybe like between first and like fourth grade? Do you think it's too much to try and show them how to read in both English and
English and
Spanish?
Spanish. That's a really good question. It's hard for me to say because of their reading level. So if you said, what grade is your student?
Well, I already have an 8th grader,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't have any problems with her. She knows how to both.
Both, okay.
But then I have a 1st grader, and she wants to read in Spanish. She's just now starting.
Yes.
I hesitate to try and show
To
her
try.
how to read in Spanish because I don't want her to start
Confused.
reading in
Yeah.
Spanish and then she's not going to be able to
Yeah.
read in English.
I totally understand. What you can do also is when you do your read out with your daughter or son, you can do Spanish. You can have your older daughter, read to her in Spanish, and that would be her Spanish. And then once she gets her, once she's starting to read, you can kind of maybe put a little book in Spanish. Yeah, alternate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good question. Any questions, comments? Is it clear? Yes? Also, we have a couple gifts. We're going to give the first family that was here a gift, and also...
Who's the first family that showed up?
Here you go.
And also... Yes, the first participant. Okay, yes. So these are two books that Dee and they brought for you, and what they are their advice for parents. These are, I read through them. It's like 36 pages, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So you can come up here, and there's a Spanish on this side, and there's an English on that side. Está en español el libro de este lado, y de aquel lado está en inglés. Y también están unas palabras, unas pocas sugerencias para usted y su hijo. Y no solamente en lectura, sino en diferentes temas. Desarrollo de diferente de su hijo. ¿Okay? So, les aconsejo que lo lean y les va a encantar. Lo leí 36 páginas, pero es muy informativo y creo que lo es. ¿Okay? So, ¿gustan pasar a agarrar uno? Gracias.
Again, we'd just like to thank Ms. Morales for her wonderful words, and we hope that if you have any questions in that, we are going to post this entire presentation on our website, as well as the web addresses, the specific internet sites that she had given you, in case you were, and we'll link them to our website in that. We, please help yourself to the materials. Again, please, another round of applause. This was wonderful. We have lunch and cookies for you, and then I know in the classrooms the teachers have wonderful activities. If you wanted to go, you're more than welcome. Please go up to your child's classroom in that. And thank you for coming to our reading night. I know it was the weather is friend these days.